Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. Start your day the right way with us. We will be covering current events in the news, local, national, and from Wright State. We will provide a daily dose of inspiration and positivity to lighten your day. And we will have a special feature depending on the day of the week. So grab your tea or your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Wright Morning Show. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show today on WWSU 106.9 FM for Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. We're going to get right into your current events of the morning. First off, Dayton Daily News has an article about Fairborn Library mural is sparking a debate over use of federal money. So check that out. WDTN. Dayton mayoral candidates make final push in race. Now remember, today is election day, so get out there and vote in your local elections. In the final stretch of Dayton's mayoral race, candidates are focused on getting voters to the polls. Democrat Jeffy Mims Jr., a current city commissioner, is facing Republican Renee Bowers, a retired city district fire chief. Both candidates said Dayton is near and dear to them for many reasons. My parents were poor, and we found ways to improve our quality of life. Those opportunities given to my father and mother put us in a better position to enjoy a higher quality of life here in Dayton, Mims said. Bowers said Dayton is special because of the city's accomplishments. People came from all over the country to work and live here. It's a city of great innovation with the Wright brothers in Patterson, Bowers said. Both candidates plan to tackle police reform. In June 2020, the Dayton City Commission announced the working structure used to drive changes. Mims said he's proud of the work that the city has done so far. The process of creating the kind of conditions where our citizens and police have a higher level of trust and working on policies and things that help citizens understand what their rights are when they come in contact with a police person. Also, the shot spotter that helps us recognize where police weapons have been fired, he said. You can read more at WDTN.com. Dayton Daily News has an article about a standoff that ended at a Kettering apartment building. You can check that out at DaytonDailyNews.com with a subscription. From WLWT Cincinnati, a Beaver Creek man pleads guilty to attempting to join ISIS-K. An Ohio man was arrested at John Glenn International Airport in 2018 while trying to travel to Afghanistan to join ISIS Wilayat Khorasan and has pleaded guilty in federal court. Nassar Almadoji, of 22, of Beaver Creek, is an Iraqi-born United States citizen. He was scheduled to start jury trial on Monday. Almadoji pleaded guilty Friday evening to one count of attempting to provide material support, himself as personnel, to foreign terrorist organizations, namely ISIS and ISIS-K. This is now the second person from the Dayton area held accountable in recent times from trying to join ISIS, said Acting U.S. Attorney Vipul J. Patel. Whatever grievances might exist with our government, our country, or our way of life, violence is not the answer. According to court documents, Al-Mahdi purchased a plane ticket for travel on October 24, 2018, and was arrested after checking in and obtaining his boarding pass. You can read more at WLWT.com. From WDTN, no agreement was reached between Dayton and union leaders over a vaccine mandate. Beginning Monday, November 1st, the city of Dayton will require weekly COVID-19 tests of its unvaccinated employees, even after Dayton Fire and Police Departments warn of potentially dangerous effects on public safety. There will be longer response times for the calls for crimes. There probably will not be enough EMTs or paramedics to respond to medical emergencies, and not enough firefighters to respond to fires, said Derek McDonald, VP of Dayton FOP Lodge Number 44. According to a release by the city of Dayton, personnel will no longer be allowed to use personal time to be paid for absences due to the vaccine mandate. Employees will now be sent home without pay. They're going to enjoy time at home without pay, said City of Dayton Human Resources Director Ken Cooch. It's a test. There are no exceptions to testing. There are consequences to choices, and if you're not going to get vaccinated, then you're going to get a test. The HR director for the city stands by the legality of the mandate, while fire and police officials are worried about employees being sent home. The result of today and moving forward sits on the desk of the city manager now, said President of Dayton IAFF, Craig Robinson. You can read more at WDTN.com. Dayton Daily News has an article. Beaver Creek is spending nearly all of $5 million in stimulus funds on infrastructure, so check that out. From WYSO, Greene County is ready to vote again for a new jail. Tuesday, which is today, is Election Day. One of the decisions in front of voters in Greene County is whether to approve a levy that would fund the construction of a new county jail. A similar levy was soundly rejected in April of 2020. Advocates for the new jail says it is desperately needed, but opponents say that a new jail will not fix a broken system. All right, you can read more about this at WYSO.com. From WHIO, Interim Dayton Police Chief Matt Carper is announcing his retirement. Interim Dayton Police Chief Matt Carper has announced he will retire from the department in December, just weeks after he was not selected to be the next city permanent police chief. It has been an honor to serve as an officer and ultimately as the interim chief of police, Carper said in a statement to Newsletter 7. I have a profound respect for our officers and the difficult job they must perform, and I value the relationships I have made in the community throughout my career. I will do everything I can to ensure a smooth transition in December. Carper was in the running to be the next police chief for the city, but was ultimately not selected in what city manager Shelley Dickstein said was probably one of the most difficult decisions she had to make. Carper will retire on December 17th. You can read more about the race at WHIO.com. From Spectrum News 1. With Election Day today, the Montgomery County Board of Elections wants to remind voters that there are numerous important races and measures on the November ballot. What you need to know. Election Day is today, and Montgomery County has numerous important races and measures on the November ballot. In Dayton, Commissioner Jeff Mims Jr. is taking on a retired firefighter, Renee Bowers, to replace outgoing Mayor Nan Whaley. In Centerville, 5 candidates are running for 3 open seats on the City Council. 2 seats on Dayton City Commission are also up for grabs. You can find a full copy of your ballot and ballot-related issues on the Spectrum News Voter Guide. Take a quick peek at that here real quick. Oh, it's not going to load for me. That's disappointing. There are also about 90 races for positions across the county, including the mayor of Dayton and seats on Dayton City Commission. There are 16 issues on the ballot, ranging from levies to referendums. You can read more about the race at SpectrumNews1.com. That's the number 1. Dayton Daily News has an article about Absolutely Fabulous. 5 reasons to see Mamma Mia at Wright State. Dayton Business Journal has an article about 31,000 open jobs in the Dayton region. See who's hiring the most. From WDTN, temperatures are going to chill out after the 5th warmest October in Dayton. Green grass covers yards across the Miami Valley. Lawnmowers are heard over leaf blowers as the changing fall foliage is just beginning to show off a range of fall colors on November 1st. The biggest factor delaying the fall color this year was above normal warmth, according to fall color forester David Parrott with ODNR. The tree will have an idea that winter is coming, but essentially they're greedy, and if they could continue to eat and photosynthesize, they'll continue to do that, and that's why they'll hang on to those green leaves longer than they should, Parrott said. Rain, sunshine, and warm weather allow the trees to continue to photosynthesize. Dayton recorded 4.55 inches of rain during October, making this the 13th wettest on record. Rainfall was 1.6 inches above normal. The average temperature was also 5.7 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. Parrott said sunny days and cool nights are ideal for the best fall foliage, which we are going to be getting this week. Your forecast coming up next. The nights were not very cool this year. In fact, the average low for the month of October was 53.1 degrees. October 2021 holds the spot for second warmest average low behind 1971 when the average low was 53.8 degrees. The average high of 70.4 ranked 12th among Octobers dating back to 1893. But freezing temperatures are on the way, and we're going to talk about that right now. Your current weather at tomorrow.io at Wright State University is mostly clear and 36 degrees. We almost approached freezing overnight. We will probably approach freezing tonight. The wind is coming from the west at 3 miles per hour. The relative humidity is 78%. The barometer is on the rise, 30.35 inches, but it is going to start falling again as we get later in the day. That is also going to result in a slight increase in the wind speed as well. It's going to get a little breezy this afternoon. Visibility is good, UV index is none, and air quality is moderate. Your 12-hour hyper forecast for the area shows clear skies all around for the next 12 hours. Temperatures are going to approach 40 degrees at about 10:15 a.m. They're going to peak at 46 degrees around 3 p.m. and then start cooling off at 5 p.m. Your extended weather forecast brought to you by the National Weather Service at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Just kind of give you a context of how cold it's going to get. We do have some freeze warnings in southern Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Indiana. We do not have any freeze warnings for us, but that is because it is November, and freeze warnings are not issued in November for our area. But we are going to get freezing temperatures. Here's the forecast. Today, partly sunny, high in the mid-40s. Tonight, partly cloudy with frost developing overnight, low in the upper 20s. It's going to be the first freeze of the year. Wednesday, frost in the morning, otherwise partly sunny, high in the mid-40s. Wednesday night, mostly cloudy, low around 30, another freezing night. Thursday, mostly sunny, high in the upper 40s. Thursday night, partly cloudy, low in the upper 20s. Friday, sunny, high around 50. Friday night, mostly clear, low in the upper 20s. And Saturday, sunny, high in the mid-50s. So it's going to be a cool one, but a dry one at least. Going to have a break from all of that rain. We have Laughing Chipmunk now joined in the studio with us. How are you doing this morning, Laughing Chipmunk?
I'm tired. I'm so tired. Hey, looky. I got my very first Wright State shirt.
Oh, did you buy one from upstairs?
No, I bought this at Meijer, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was going to go to the bookstore and buy some more Wright State stuff.
All right, we're going to get into global and national news now. First off, from the morning edition, New York Times. They have an article about Britain offering a warning of what happens when a country ignores COVID. There are downsides to most COVID 19 precautions. Keeping children home from school can cause them to fall behind. Working from home can impede creativity. Staying away from friends and relatives can damage mental health. Wearing masks can muffle speech, hide smiles, and fog eyeglasses.
You got that right.
For all of these reasons, the ideal COVID policy for any society balances the benefits and costs of precautions. It acknowledges that excessive caution can do more harm than good. By now, regular readers will recognize the search for COVID balance as a theme of the newsletter. We want to focus on a place today that seems to be erring on the side of too little caution, and that is Britain. Over the past year, Britain's COVID response has included some major victories. The country rushed to vaccinate people and was also willing to reimpose behavior restrictions last winter. These measures helped cause a sharp drop in caseloads. In response, Britain reopened over the summer, allowing people to live largely without restrictions. Schools and workplaces have returned to normal without masks. Restaurants were booked. Finding a taxi on a Saturday night in central London was a challenge. There's a feeling that finally we can breathe, Devi Sridhar, the head of the Global Public Health Program at the University of Edinburgh, wrote in August. We could start trying to get back what we lost. The problem is that Britain now seems to have lost a sense of balance, as Sridhar has also suggested. Cases have surged this fall, more so than the rest of Europe, the United States, or many other countries. Yet Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government continues to oppose measures that would reduce cases. We want to focus on Britain partly because it can offer lessons for the US and other countries. The Delta variant arrived in Britain earlier than in many other places, making it something of a leading indicator. Cases in Britain rose for about 2 months, starting in May, and then started following, but the decline did not last. Over the past week in the US, cases have also stopped falling. The reasons are not clear, as often is the case with COVID, and the recent increase is minuscule. But that is a reminder that the pandemic will probably keep having ups and downs. Experts say Britain seems to be making 3 main mistakes that are aggravating the pandemic, and you can read up about these mistakes on the morning edition of the New York Times. But they are not enough vaccinations, waning immunity, and people living and let living. Some other headlines today from the New York Times. More than 5 million people worldwide have died from COVID, according to official counts. The actual toll is higher. Questions from the Supreme Court justices suggested that they might be skeptical of Texas' restrictive abortion law. Senator Joe Manchin said he would not support President Biden's revised spending plan without greater clarity about its economic effects. More than 100 countries, including Brazil, China, and the U.S., pledged to end deforestation by 2030. Forests are crucial to absorbing carbon dioxide. The Biden administration is planning to heavily regulate methane, a potent greenhouse gas, so be mindful of your farts. Biden and other leaders spoke in grave terms about global warming, but offered few new commitments to cut greenhouse gas emissions. Voters today will elect governors in Virginia and New Jersey and mayors in New York City, Boston, and elsewhere. Minneapolis voters will decide whether to restructure their police department after the murder last year of George Floyd. The mayor's race in Buffalo is between a socialist who won the Democratic primary and a centrist incumbent running a write-in campaign. A year after the 2020 election, how well do you understand its demographic trends? There's a chart, I guess, at the New York Times. Robert Durst is facing charges in the 1982 disappearance of his wife. Car shortages are putting the world's economy at risk because so many jobs depend on automaking. And finally, the International Handball Federation will no longer require women to play in bikini bottoms. So I guess no more playing in SpongeBob's hometown, huh? All right, from Cheddar News, need to know. Election day in America from key races. It's an off-year election, but voters will still go to the polls in several high-profile contests today. Chief among them is Virginia's gubernatorial race, where Democrat Terry McAuliffe has been running ahead of Republican Glenn Youngkin, though the latest polls have them either tied or with Youngkin slightly ahead. The GOP is also hoping for the off chance of an upset in the New Jersey governor's race. In New York City, voters will choose their next mayor, though Democrat Eric Adams had that one in the bag. Boston will elect its first woman and first person of color as mayor, regardless of who wins. And in Buffalo, New York, a race between an avowed socialist and incumbent Democrat running as a write-in will provide a test of the strength of the progressive wing of the party. From the BBC, President Biden vowed that the U.S. would lead by example on climate change, but stopped short of announcing any concrete new pledges on the first day of the COP26 summit. Today is expected to bring more in terms of specifics. More than 100 world leaders are announcing a deal to end and reverse deforestation by 2030, with Brazil among the signatories on the pledge. Biden is also planning to announce major new regulations on methane, the greenhouse gas that's far more potent than carbon dioxide. That announcement will restore and strengthen regulations that were canceled by the Trump administration. From SCOTUS blog, the Supreme Court hinted that it would allow a challenge to the restrictive Texas abortion law, a change from how the justices ruled in September to let that law go into effect. During oral arguments in the Texas case, Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett appeared skeptical of Texas' defense of the law, particularly the way it was designed to only be enforceable through lawsuits by private parties. Both the conservative justices were in the majority when the court let the abortion law take effect, so their skepticism is notable. The justices are due to hear arguments tomorrow in another major case related to gun rights. From Cheddar News, while countries like the U.S. are learning to live with the coronavirus as it morphs into an endemic virus, China is continuing with a zero-COVID eradication policy. The lengths of that stringent approach were put into stark relief when the government locked down Shanghai Disneyland on Sunday night, when a single guest was found to be COVID positive. More than 30,000 visitors to the theme park were locked inside and unable to leave until they each tested negative. Videos on social media showed a surreal scene of guests lining up to get tested as fireworks lit up the enchanted storybook castle. From Reuters, Jeffrey Epstein is still causing CEOs to lose their jobs more than 2 years after his death. Jess Staley has resigned as chief executive of Barclays amid an investigation by British regulators into Staley's ties to the disgraced financier and convicted sex offender. Staley's exit from one of the world's biggest banks follows that of billionaire Leon Black, who left the private equity firm Apollo earlier this year amid a review of his relationship with Epstein. Black's exit followed that of Les Wexner, who resigned as CEO of Victoria's Secret parent L Brands last year after his longtime friendship with Epstein became publicized. From the Wall Street Journal, Apple is reportedly testing a new feature that would detect a car accident as it happens. Crash detection for iPhones and Apple Watches would use sensors built into the devices that would be able to tell if you're traveling in a car that has been hit. The feature would then dial 911 automatically on your behalf. Google's Pixel already has a new way to detect crashes as they occur, and General Motors' OnStar product uses built-in vehicle sensors to provide a similar service. From Bloomberg, Zillow managed to do what no one else could in 2021: lose money flipping houses. The online listing company is now trying to unload about $2.8 billion worth of homes that it bought up this year, making many of which are now listed for less than the company paid for them. Zillow appears to have gone big on its algorithm-based house flipping strategy, just as home prices started to cool, and has since paused its iBuying business as it tries to sell off remaining inventory to investors. From the New York Times, if a show is on cable and no one's talking about it, does it make a sound? The penultimate episode of Impeachment: Amazon Crime Story airs tonight on FX. Ryan Murphy's dramatized retelling of the Monica Lewinsky scandal came in with a lot of buzz, but the ratings have been a disaster compared with previous installments of the anthology series. The reason for that is a cautionary tale for TV networks. Because of a deal FX struck with Netflix back in 2016, the series won't get a streaming run for another year. That might have made sense 5 years ago, but Netflix has nearly tripled its subscriber base since then, while millions of people have cut the cord. Oh, here we go. Here's a funny and interesting story from CNN. When 4 astronauts currently aboard the ISS take the short trip back to Earth in the coming days, they'll probably want to hold it. An issue with the toilet on the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule means that the commode will be off limits for the ride home, which typically takes a few hours, plus however long it takes the recovery team to reach the capsule.
Oh, gee.
NASA said the astronauts will be each given a pair of undergarments that will allow the crew to perform the functions they need with the toilet out of commission. SpaceX says the leaky toilet issue will be fixed for the next launch. Houston, we have a huge problem.
Yeah, big problem.
All right. Well, that concludes your current events for today. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into your daily dose of inspiration. Today, we're going to be talking about how to make gratitude a daily habit. You're listening to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM.
Hey, this is Mac.
Welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. For today's daily dose of inspiration, we're going to be talking about how to make gratitude a daily habit. This is written by Eric Langshire and Nate Klemp from mindful.org. We tend to talk about gratitude as a way of expressing thanks. Thanks for a meal, an event, or an act of kindness. Following the lead of researchers in the field of positive psychology, the definition of gratitude is a little more broad. We define gratitude as the conscious appreciation for any aspect of our life experiences. Sanja Lyubomirsky, on the other hand, offers a more poetic description. It is wonder, it is appreciation, it is looking at the bright side of a setback, it is fathoming abundance, it is thanking someone in your life, it is counting blessings, it is savoring, it is not taking things for granted, it is coping, it is present oriented. Gratitude is one of the easiest ways to shift our set point driven state of mind. 15 seconds of savoring something you are grateful for can be transformative. It can broaden your perspective on life, turn problems into possibilities and irritation into curiosity. The challenge and real benefit comes from training the skill to become second nature so that you naturally savor gratitude throughout the day. Jack, a former family business owner and executive coach, describes a lifelong negative pattern of behavior that changed when he developed a daily habit of gratitude. I spoke to focus on the specks on the wall of my life, things I didn't have or wanted more of. I was keeping score in a game that didn't add up to what I really valued in life: my family, close connections with friends, and a job that was aligned with my purpose. I began to notice how often I focused on mostly the negative stuff. I developed a daily habit of gratitude and started keeping a gratitude journal. And now, when I begin to think about the specks, I shift to gratitude and it completely changes my day. My best move, though, is to extend the feeling of gratitude and savor those moments by closing my eyes and taking a deep breath. It has transformed my life. We all have our own version of Jack's specks on the wall. Without gratitude, we focus on life's imperfections. In fact, they often become all that we see. Gratitude gives us a wider perspective. We might still see the imperfections, but we also recognize the blessings that surround them. Ram Dass, a former Harvard psychologist and an acclaimed spiritual teacher, uses the analogy of a picture of a sky to illustrate the shift in perspective. According to Dass, if you have a photograph of the sky that is zoomed in on a small gray cloud, then that's all you can see. Everything looks dark and colorless. But if you zoom out and see the sky from a larger perspective, you begin to see that the cloud is surrounded by blue sky. That's the kind of shift in perspective that you can access through gratitude. Let's talk about gratitude and the brain. Thanks to advances in neuroscience and positive psychology, we now have the scientific evidence to show that practicing gratitude holds a wide range of benefits in regards to your emotional and physical well being. Gratitude diminishes anxiety, depression, and other signs of psychological unease while simultaneously cultivating appreciation and contentment. How does gratitude work? Well, according to Rick Hansen, an expert on positive neuroplasticity, the brain is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. Traumatic experiences, such as car accidents, heartbreak, or intense fear, carve deep grooves in the neurostructures of the brain. The brain's Velcro like attachment to bad experiences reinforces the negativity bias of the brain. It ensures that we spend the bulk of our mental energy ruminating on regrets, resentments, and fears rather than contemplating on moments of bliss and elation. Recent research, however, has echoed the fact that gratitude can serve as an antidote to this negative spiral. Even though our brains are naturally attracted to negative memories, gratitude allows us to amplify the positive, to create more powerful and vivid memories, and in turn, a lasting change in the brain. In fact, research conducted by Barbara Fredrickson, a psychologist at the University of North Carolina, has shown that gratitude broadens and builds the brain's capacity to overcome negative emotional states. In the absence of gratitude, the mind closes in on a small handful of possibilities. Gratitude expands the field by widening the array of thoughts and actions that come to mind. For example, if you feel frustration while sitting in traffic, gratitude can help broaden your experience. You could begin to notice the changing leaves on the trees, relax it to your breath, or use the delay as an opportunity to really listen to your favorite music or audiobook. The shift isn't merely psychological, though. Evidence from neuroscience suggests that the efforts of this practice extend deep into the neural pathways of the brain. Dr. Richie Davidson, neuroscience researcher, notes that from everything we know about the brain circuitry underlying these components, it's a good bet that well being therapy, or the expression of gratitude for self and others, strengthens the prefrontal cortex. So, here are 4 ways that gratitude contributes to well being. As psychologists continue to explore the causal mechanisms behind gratitude, one thing is clear: gratitude offers extensive benefits of well being, including increased optimism. Research demonstrates that the practice correlates to an increase in the experience of positive emotions and reduction of negative ones. Number 2, reduce stress and anxiety in times of crisis. In studies following the September 11 attacks on the World Trade Center and elsewhere, Fredrickson found that the practice of gratitude diminished the intensity and frequency of traumatic memories. Number 3, enhanced physical health. Gratitude helps lower blood pressure and the quality of our sleep. Researchers have found that by practicing gratitude, we get more sleep, fall asleep more easily, and feel better when we wake up. And number 4, improved relationships. Robert Emmons and Michael McCullough theorize that gratitude within relationships can create a kind of upward spiral. As we become more grateful for our friends and family, we treat them with more kindness and respect. So, how can you practice gratitude in your day to day life? The key to making gratitude a habit is simply taking the time once per day to focus on the experience of gratitude. You might do this by writing down 3 things that you are grateful for, or by expressing gratitude at the beginning of a meal. Whichever technique you use, here are a few tips to help you make the most of this practice. Get your friends and family involved. Have each person say what they are grateful for at the start of a meal. This will reinforce the experience and help everyone experience gratitude. Remember to do it. Like all well being habits, the most difficult part of the gratitude practice is doing it, and doing it consistently. We recommend 2 strategies. First, as mentioned above, get your family and friends involved. When you sit down to eat, each of you will help one another remember. Secondly, you can use the sticker technique. Put a small sticker with gratitude written on it in the upper corner of your placemat. This will give you a visual reminder each time when you eat at home. Don't forget to rewire. It's natural to experience gratitude in one instant and then move on to eating or whatever else you're doing in the next. But remember to introduce a subtle space after gratitude. For just 15 seconds, savor the experience. In a few weeks or months, when you sit down to eat, you will express and savor your gratitudes for the day automatically. You will also start to notice the experience of gratitude becoming more frequent in the rest of your life. And that's how you know it's working. Find a cue that works for you. We strongly recommend meals because this often involves social situations in which you can share your gratitude practice with others. But if this cue doesn't work for you, pick some other regularly repeated daily event. Waking up, going to bed, or starting your computer at the beginning of the day. The key is to keep your cue consistent. And finally, go deeper. If you have mastered the practice of expressing gratitude at each meal, then feel free to begin building the advanced cue into your daily life. For instance, phone calls. Whenever you receive a phone call, rather than picking it up immediately, listen to at least 2 rings while thinking of one thing you are grateful for, and then answer the call as you savor the experience. You will find this practice more difficult than it sounds, but when you master it, it will enable you to enter each phone conversation with a feeling of appreciation. And that is the article. So, first off, what do you think, Laughing Chipmunk?
Well, I only heard half of the article because I was outside eating a muffin, and then the group came by, and then they were talking, so I couldn't really hear you all that good. But
Oh, well.
oh well. Um,
You can find this at mindful.org, by the way, if you want to read back at the article for anybody listening.
yeah, I mean, from what I heard, it just reminded me, the being grateful at the meal thing. That just reminded me of your grandma,
Mm
saying like she had to say like 3 prayers,
hmm.
like before every meal, and blah, 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 I can't talk. Your grandpa, he always said, "Oh, your mother has to say mass before the meal," because it's like 3 prayers, and you're sitting there while she's, da 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 da, and you're like, okay, yes, thank you, God, we are grateful, but I'm hungry, but it's like it doesn't have to be real long. You could just say, "Hey, God, thank you. Thank you for this food. Thank you for, bless those who made it, and then eat."
Mm hmm.
God will understand, or spirit, or whoever you pray to, and they'll
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. So, how about we do a quick gratitude exercise? So, it is the month of November, it is the month of Thanksgiving, and we
Yep.
call it the month of attitude of gratitude. So, if gratitude is not something that comes to your daily habit, this is the month to make it a habit and to continue making it a habit even beyond November and especially during the holiday season in December as well. So, what we're going to do now is we are going to think of 3 things that we are grateful for. It could be anything. So, I'll name one off the bat. I am thankful for WWSU Radio to be able to provide this opportunity to our listeners to give you the right morning show. So, what about you, Laughing Chimuk? What's your first gratitude?
First and foremost, I am grateful and thankful for my son, Triple P,
Mm-hmm.
who is the number one priority in my life, above my husband, above my cats, even. And,
Can't put me above your cats. Everybody knows cats get first priority.
no,
They'll make you their first priority.
no, my son is my very first priority. So, yes, Triple P, you're like right there at the top.
Well, I'm not giving mine in any particular order. I'm just
I
saying
am.
them in the order that they come to mind. And of course, my mother is going to be my number 2 on the gratitude list, not in any particular order, mind you.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you.
So what's your number 2?
My number two would be my family, and that includes my friends. Because I mean, you can have your friends as extended family, so I'm putting them two together. My friends and family, um, loved ones. husband, friends, my soul sister Harmony, um, all my other friends. Uh, you know who you are. I'm not gonna name them off. It's gonna be too long. You know who you are.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for all of you, even if I don't talk to you that much or that often. I'm still grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Let's see. What am I gonna pick for number three? I would say Wright State University would be my number three. Being able to get an education, a college, higher education at that.
Right,
Because there's a lot of people who are not able to get and afford an education.
right, yeah.
So being able to get an education is a big privilege.
Hmm.
What about you?
Uh, okay, here's where the cats come in. You knew I was gonna say something about the
You
cats.
gotta include the
I
cats
gotta
in here.
include the cats. Yes.
You're what, 9 cats now?
Well, yeah, I mean, 6 adopted and 3 fosters. We're still looking for homes for 3 of them. So, but yeah, I'm grateful for those kitties. They are so sweet and so cute, and they do such funny things that just make us laugh our heads off. And I mean, they could be little devils at times, and cause trouble, but it's all animals do that. So, I mean, I can't see myself having a life without my cats. I really
Mhm.
can't. So, I mean, if I could throw my husband in there too, I mean, I'm grateful for him too. I mean, I could go beyond just 3 things.
Yeah.
you
But for
know?
time's sake, we're
Yeah,
limiting
yeah.
to 3.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
so one way that they recommend doing the gratitude practice is to start off with 3 things every day. Once
mhm,
that starts becoming second nature to you, then you move on to doing 5 things every day, and then you do 10 things every day.
mhm.
Uh, and then it works pretty well in terms of reducing anxiety and depression, and really just helping you get into that good mindset for the day.
And then pretty soon you'll have a list so long you have to write it down and go through that list every
That's
day.
that's where you get a gratitude journal.
Yeah. Hey, that's an idea. That's a good idea.
Oh, you got to fix your mask there. Runaway mask.
It pops off because of my ears. My ears are weird.
We're going to take a quick break, and while we come back, we're going to get into Trivia Tuesday, so everybody stick around. You're listening to WWSU 106.9 FM.
You are listening to WWC 106.
Welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU. We only have like 9 minutes to get through this, so we're going to go ahead and do this. Are you familiar with cinematic devils in movies?
Hmm?
Are you familiar with devils in movies?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm asking because I'm trying to determine if we should do that quiz.
Go
All right.
ahead.
So, the fun trivia quiz of the day on Deviled Egg Day, which is today, Interesting. Deviled egg day. We're going to have to make some deviled eggs.
That does sound
Let's
good.
look at some cinematic devils as a balance to yesterday's saints. All right, question number 1. What is the middle name of young Reagan, the girl possessed by a demon in The Exorcist? Was it Louise, Teresa, Maria, or Christina? Again, what is the middle name of young Reagan, the girl possessed by a demon in The Exorcist? Louise, Teresa, Maria, or Christina? Got about 10 seconds to lock in your answers. What do you think, Laughing
I'm gonna
Chipmunk?
take a guess and just pick one, Teresa.
All right. You got it. It's Teresa.
Are you serious?
Yep. Found that out in the uncut version of the film.
Oh wow! Because it's been so long, but okay,
It's
go
been a
ahead.
long time since I've seen the movie as well.
Yeah.
Question number 2. While playing Satan, which actor's character said this about God? Let me tell you something about him. He is the biggest underachiever of all time. He just has a good publicist, that's all.
Mm.
Was it Harvey Keitel, Gabrielle Byrne, Rodney Dangerfield, or Viggo Mortensen? So which Satan said, let me tell you something about God. He is the biggest underachiever of all time. He's just a good publicist. That's all. Harvey Keitel, Gabrielle Byrne, Rodney Dangerfield, or Viggo Mortensen? Got like 3 seconds to lock in your answer.
I really don't know, so I'll guess again. I'll say Rodney.
Nah, it was Gabrielle Byrne.
Oh, well.
This was an End of Days. Mortensen played the devil in Prophecy. Keitel and Dangerfield were Satan and Lucifer in Little Nicky.
Mm.
Next question. In Oh God, You Devil, 1984, George Burns took on the double role of playing God and the devil. What name did the devil use while trying to ensnare a desperate singer? Ben A. Devane, David A. McNulty, Harry O. Tophat, or Simon I. Neville? So in Oh God, You Devil, what name did the devil use while trying to ensnare a desperate singer? Ben A. Devane, David A. McNulty, Harry O. Tophat, or Simon I. Neville? Got about 5 seconds to lock in your answer.
I don't know.
I have no idea either. The answer is Harry O. Tophat.
Oh.
The story is fairly predictable. The charm of the film lies with the conversations between the Burns God and the Burns Devil. That ought to be interesting. Playing God and the devil and talking with yourself. Pretty
Mhm.
much. Next question. Angel on My Shoulder has Paul Mooney playing a murdered mobster, hellbound and looking for a deal. Claude Rains is the cultured, articulate devil who gives him one. How does the crook address the Lord of Darkness? Nick, Dev, Your Excellency, or Jake? So an angel on my shoulder, how does the crook address the Lord of Darkness? Nick, Dev, Your Excellency, or Jake? Got about 7 seconds. What do you
I don't
think?
know, Your Excellency.
I'm going with Your Excellency, too. That sounds like a fun name to call the Lord of Darkness. Oh, the answer is Nick.
Oh.
Mooney was fairly successful in the comedy, and Rains went on to play an angel, and here comes Mr. Jordan. Question 5. Chris Sarandon has played a vampire, the Pumpkin King, and a necromancer. But which character on the side of good did he play in 1980? A bishop, an angel, God, or Jesus? So Chris Sarandon has played a vampire, the Pumpkin King, and a necromancer. But which character on the side of good did he play in 1980? A bishop, an angel, God, or Jesus? Got about 7 seconds to lock in your answer.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I'm going bishop with this one. Oh, the answer is Jesus. He played Jesus. Chris Sarandon played Jesus Christ in the 1980 television film The Day Christ Died. He was a vampire in Fright Night, Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King in Nightmare Before Christmas, and a necromancer in an episode of Charmed.
Hmm.
Question 6. Max von Sydow is famous for playing Father Merrin in The Exorcist, but he was also played a number of other memorable roles. Which of the following conflicting good and evil roles did he play? Jesus and the devil, a saint and a murderer, an angel and a demon, or God and a vampire? So Max von Sydow played which of the following conflicting good and evil roles? Jesus and the devil, a saint and a murderer, an angel and a demon, or God and a vampire? Got about 5 seconds.
I don't know.
Time is up. He played Jesus and the devil. Max von Sydow is probably most recognized for his work as Father Merrin in the Exorcist series, and he stayed on the side of good when he played Jesus in The Greatest Story Ever Told. However, he also worked on the side of evil, playing the devil, a.k.a. Leland Gaunt, in Needful Things in 1993. Question 7. This actor is often remembered for playing unpleasant, nasty characters, but in 1995 he played an angel, a role which he reprised a further 2 times. This contrasts with his role as a vampire, also in 1995. Who is he? Viggo Mortensen, Dennis Hopper, Gary Oldman, or Christopher Walken? So this actor played an angel in 1995 twice, or 3 times. This contrasts with the role as a vampire, also in 1995. Was it Viggo Mortensen, Dennis Hopper, Gary Oldman, or Christopher Walken?
I'd say Gary Oldman.
It is Christopher Walken.
Ah, good old Chris.
Christopher Walken is well known for playing sinister roles. For example, in his roles in King of New York, 1990, and Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, 1995. In an out-of-character turn, he played Gabriel, an angel, in The Prophecy, 1995. But in the same year, he was back to his usual self, playing a vampire in The Addiction.
Don't forget Sleepy Hollow.
Question 8, it didn't say that. Which actor has played both the Pope and the Antichrist, both in 1981? David Thewlis, Sam Neill, Brian Brown, or Ian McKellen? So which actor played both the Pope and the Antichrist in 1981? David Thewlis, Sam Neill, Brian Brown, or Ian McKellen? Got about 7 seconds. What do you think?
I don't
I don't see. I wasn't born during most of these movies.
Yeah, and I'm not really a big movie watcher, so.
The answer is Sam Neill, born in Northern Ireland in 1947. He is known for a number of his roles, but perhaps most recognized for his role in Jurassic Park 1993 as Dr. Alan Grant. In 1981, he played the Pope in From a Far Country and the Antichrist in The Final Conflict. Final question, because of time's sake. In The Prophecy, Christopher Walken plays the angel Gabriel, and his actor plays Lucifer. Name this actor who also plays Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Orlando Bloom, Sean Bean, Hugo Weaving, or Viggo Mortensen?
I'll take a guess and say Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. That's an interesting name.
He was on Game of Thrones.
Huh.
Yeah.
So Orlando Bloom, Sean Bean, Hugo Weaving, Viggo Mortensen. Which actor also played Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, in addition to the angel Gabriel and its actor Lucifer? The answer, Viggo Mortensen. The Prophecy was released in Europe as God's Army. The movie tells the story of a war raging among the angels. A man who quit the priesthood to become an LAPD detective is famous of the movie. He quit the priesthood because of the visions he saw in the angelic war, and now the war engulfs his life. That concludes today's episode of the Wright Morning Show. Coming up next at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman and Juan Gonzalez. Get the latest current events and special guest interviews of the day. Doesn't look like we're going to have any other programming for today on WWSU Radio. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. We're here every Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WWSU Radio. Everybody have a great day. Thank you, Laughing Chipmunk, for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for